morning. My name is Darius Anucauskas and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com. And today is Friday, ladies and gentlemen, the last trading day of the week and of course the last trading day of the month of November. Look, it was a crazy month in my opinion. Another one. Well, actually, no. October was kind of a blunt month, to be honest, but November was a little bit crazier. But of course, about all that and a little bit more in the webinar right now. We're going to talk markets, so stick around. Hopefully you'll enjoy the session, and I'll see you in a bit. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, hello, and good morning. My name is Darius Anucauskas, and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com, and today, ladies and gentlemen, is Friday. So the Friday, the 28th, the Friday the 28th of November, the last trading day of the week, and also the last trading day of this month. But not for cryptos. Cryptos, Saturday, Sunday, still alive. So, you know. But look, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this month was a good one for you. I hope everything was fine. Sorry, my glasses are a little bit dirty. But I hope it treated you well and, you know, you didn't have any major issues in a way with your trading. So look, we're going to talk markets in this session. We're going to wrap up the month. We're going to see how everything is shaping up. And of course, how not to end the beautiful month of November with just kind of a little bit of a CME outage. You know, that would be probably the best way, right? If you don't sense sarcasm and irony in my words, or actually not irony, sarcasm, then yeah, I don't know. But look, certainly the markets, if you have checked the charts this morning, and like I said, this is what I woke up to, nothing is, well, you know, nothing is, there is movement, but minimal. So the futures in this index futures are out. Some brokers don't even offer, you know, the quoting. We have like very minimal. Then basically we have an issue with commodities, yes. And certainly what else? Forex is down a little bit. We are seeing a little bit of movement in the like in terms of metals and not much, of course, but certainly yes. Like I said, it's the. I'm sorry about that. Sorry, my glasses are. I can just notice my glasses are very dirty. But yeah, like I said, we're noticing this little issue right now. But you know what? That's fine. I think I didn't really expect much because yesterday the U.S. market was closed, and really I kind of think that they made themselves a very nice holiday extension. You know, because the day was already supposed to be short and in trading, right? But yeah, let me just check something very quickly. Oh, I can see that yes, the Europe is working in a way, everything is fine, but the US is yeah, it's not really moving. The futures are not really moving. So, Real Truth 1448. Hey, thank you very much for tuning in. The markets are clearly rigged. Look, what's the word for that? You know, look, the markets are manipulated. You know, so and you look, we want it or not, we have to accept the fact that, you know, the markets are played and by bigger players, and that's we all participated, and us mortals in this market, we are. We have to. We all acknowledge that. If you don't acknowledge that, you know, the markets are really like manipulated, not by brokers or per se. No, it's bigger. You know, it's bigger than that. So the brokers are not manipulating that. It's like a middleman. You know, so the broker is a middleman in a way. But yeah, the markets are really difficult, and the more we go forward, the more we see that, you know, this how it's played, how it's in a way it's a little bit dirty, I would say, you know. So the financial markets are one of those kind of dirty areas where, you know, where people play. And if somebody say, but like, but you're Darius, you're in the financial markets, right? Yes, because well, I kind of follow the from my side, I have to accept the fact that I'm trying to do what's best for me. However, if I trade or I invest, I do check where what I trade and where do I invest. So given that we still have to participate in the financial markets because this is like the blood of our world. Unfortunately, we acknowledge the fact that the markets are manipulated. The markets are very subject to what's happening with the bigger players. We all understand that, and it's like. Again, like I said, it's a very big, long, debatable thing. It's, where is the morale? So if you do understand, in general, you can, say this about any industry, the food industry. Oh my God, like honestly, let's not start that, start there. So we can also say that, the food industry is manipulated, and for sure, that's absolutely true. So, but still, there's a lot of people working in that, So you're kind of trying to do everything from your side. You know what's best. You kind of try to stick to from your side, I don't know how else to say it. We're all, like I said, if you work in the oil and gas industry, congratulations, you're also part of the exploitation of the world, right, in a way. So again, like I said, we can find this problem everywhere. The only thing is, from every individual side, like we try to do our best in order, we have, first of all, we have to acknowledge where, what we do and where we are, in which industry we are, and what this industry is doing, right? We all understand that and we acknowledge that. So then the next step, of course, is like to do everything what's best from your side in order not to kind of cause pain and suffering to anybody. So if you can do, maybe we can do it better. Maybe we can do some sort of, maybe we can apply more ethics into it. So and me right now talking about this openly, I kind of really, it's really, like I said, it's one of those steps for me to kind of try to. Somebody might say clear up my name, right? No, it's like we acknowledge where we are. We're trying to do our best from our side, not to cause harm to anybody, and yeah. But with this recent outage of the CME, again, like I said, look, honestly, like very conveniently, it crashed on the next day, the next day when the market has to open up on the last trading day. In general, this November was quite a very, let's say, it exposed a lot of things in general. How governments work, how hypocritical some places are. So yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things this November kind of brought to us. If October was somewhat of a blunt month due to the whole government shutdown. Now, like the U.S. government shutdown ended in November. We started seeing big data coming through, and we can see that how data is manipulated as well. So again, we look. I think that if you are participating in the financial markets, if you are if you like to trade, you like to invest, you just, like I said, you have to do it from your side. You have to acknowledge the things that, yes, certain things are, as a real truth here mentions, that the markets are like rigged. Yes, some markets are rigged, but we, from our side, like I said, the mortals, the retail traders, we try to take everything into consideration and apply it in our everyday trading. The answer to avoiding any big problems in the market when you participate is, of course, as always, I'm not going to open secret here, it's risk management. So if you don't have risk management, sorry, you're going to get burned very, very quickly. So whenever you're exposed way too much into the market, then yes, then there's an issue there. And of course, one thing to remember that the market is, like I said, the financial markets, when you're entering a trade or, entering an investment, again, depends on, of course, maybe investment is a different story, because with investments, you kind of, again, you also need to apply risk management. You need to understand how much you're investing. Maybe you're not, investing with leverage. So, but still, if it goes against you, you need to calculate the risks and you need to understand where are your risks. With trading, I always say, well, try to minimize your exposure in the, in the market. If you always need to think about the fact that if you entered the market, if you entered the trade, then you need to straight away think how the hell I can get out of it. So yeah, like I said, it's an interesting place. It attracts a lot of people because I think it triggers a little emotional, satisfaction when, when you're kind of opening trades and stuff. And I think that this is what's, it's like a little bit of addiction or something. However, I think that that's why it's I think that's why there are risk disclaimers, by the way, which we need to go through very quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Where's that risk disclaimer? So yes, the content which we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. So that's why, like I said, we have all these disclaimers, right? I mean, that's why like the finance industry, like the I don't know, like alcohol and tobacco industry as well, everybody has disclaimers, to kind of explain you that there are risks, there are potential risks, and you have to acknowledge that. You still want to be in there, well, it's kind of on you. So it's like I said, it's like this, when that if you smoke too much, right, then it can cause you like lung cancer and all other problems. So it's kind of that one of those things, right? Maybe you're lucky, maybe you can smoke up until 100 years and then it's all okay for you, but some, for example, smoke a little bit and then that's it. So but that's what I'm saying. So that's why it's always like kind of up to you to understand your risks. And when I'm saying that, when you're exposed into the markets, you always have to understand by how much you're exposing yourselves into this market. Are you like going in all in, or are you like actually, allocating only a small proportion of your funds, to the market? So be careful with that, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, be careful. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, thank you very much, Real Truth, for participating. I can see you there in the chat. Also, anybody else who's joining in right now, really appreciate your time. I think we need to talk markets because it's the last trading day, and okay, we have this little outage. We have this outage, but still we have history in the charts, and we still see where we are, and I think it's going to be an opportunity just to calmly look at the data, the numbers, and the prices where we are all at. Quick mentioning of our Markets.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. So, ladies and gentlemen, the economic calendar. Let's check what's Friday. How's Friday looking at? Looking good here. We had some data. We had I think like a data dump from Japan, basically, for different variety of numbers. So Japan, Tokyo Core, why is it not updated? Come on, Trading View, work with me. There we go. So Tokyo Core CPI year on year, 2.8 against the previous 2.8. The forecast was per 2.7, so basically higher than the forecast. Look, still okay, still manageable. To Tokyo headline CPI year on year, 2.7, a little bit lower. Okay, mainly due to the oil energy prices, in my opinion. Unemployment rate 2.6 as previous. Okay, industrial production preliminary numbers 1.5, a little bit lower than than the previous. Retail sales year on year 1.7, better, right? Okay, well maybe it's boosted by the holidays. And also, or actually travel. Maybe that's one of those. Yeah. So travel into the country. There we go. Yes, because the Japanese yen is a little bit on the cheaper side right now against some of the major currencies. So even if even if Japan doesn't celebrate the Western celebrations, then still you have some Westerners traveling to like the same Tokyo, right, in Kyoto, and you're spending your cash in there. You're spending your hard-earned euros, dollars, and Australian dollars and New Zealand dollars and Chinese yuan and yuans. So yeah, like I said, it's an interesting place. Oh, this actually, despite the little issues with between China and Japan right now, yeah, I think that there's still cooperation is still. Look, in general, I'm a strong kind of supporter of the fact that everybody in this world needs each other. You cannot really say that, oh, I don't like these, I don't like those, like, and I'm not gonna. Here's a trade tariff on that and this, and like, everybody needs each other. Come on. Anyway, so yeah, Switzerland growth rate year on year, a little bit on the lower side against the previous 1.5 previous is plus 0.8 current. Okay. Yes, Q on Q, there we go, final, minus 0.5. Wow, that's not a very good number here. German unemployment coming out in 36 minutes-ish and counting. So yes, we'll see how that's going to play out in there. 6.3%, that's what's the German unemployment rate. Going into further today, we have some CPI figures from Germany. That's going to be an interesting one here to see the inflation. That's preliminary. That's preliminary, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, but still. Canada growth rate. There we go. We're watching that. If you are trading Canadian dollar or something like that, then yes, keep your eyes on the Canadian GDP. And kind of that's it. Because look, U.S. should have a very short day today, and before the U.S. market opens up, I hope that they will fix the issue. I guess I think that maybe the issue is already fixed a little bit, but certainly yes, because I can see that there are some quotes coming through, but it's very dead, But okay, the stocks are not available. The out of pre-market pricing is not available, but. Commodities are moving. Yep, commodity. Oh, wow. Commodities are really. Okay, interesting. Yes, everything is moving on a minimal side. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's actually jump into the charts. Let's have a look. Let me just tidy up this because I'm looking at different things at the same time. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's tuning in right now, whoever's watching, let me know what are you trading this week. Just to drop it in the comments in there, drop it in the box, and let me know what are you trading this week and what have you been trading this week, mainly. So yeah, well, maybe like I said, most likely I'll pick up on that. But yeah, still I'm quite curious. So Nikkei 225 pushed nicely to the upside this week. There we go. We broke the downside line. In general, this week we saw some nice activity, some nice positive activity in the stock market, and it seems like the indices decided to recover a little bit. And look, it's all fine. It's all fine. The market kind of was getting some deals again. These like big tech deals between themselves again. Some, like I said, I keep on saying this like money laundering thing, and the real truth. Like when you're saying the markets are clearly rigged. Look, I mean, markets are manipulated. The word rigged is not the market still reacts. It's not really rigged. It doesn't move in a way how you programmed it to move. No, what you can do is release something which you might think that may have an effect on the market, and most likely maybe there's like a higher percentage probability that it will have an effect on the market, and that's why what you do. So you kind of manipulate it. So anyway, so the markets kind of remained afloat this week. The positivity kicked in this week because maybe this percentage. Oh, come on, like everything's crushing. This percentage here remains high. Oh, it's already 84%. Look at this. Last week we only had like, we were below this. We were like 40% or something. But in the beginning of November, I told you, everybody, that it's gonna be, they're gonna try to create some sort of a show that um, initially, basically, they will try to, like I said, create some sort of a show that they said at the last meeting that yes, they were going to go for a rate cut, but then in the beginning of November they said, oh my God, we're probably not going to go for a rate cut because it's not needed, and blah blah blah. Then the government comes out of the shutdown. We get some data from NFPs, sorry, not from the NFPs, but we get the NFP data from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, and then like everybody's like, oh my God, we need some rate cuts, so, and the stock market kind of starts recovering again. So, long story short, for now, from the technical side on Nikkei, I previously talked about this idea of breaking this downside line and kind of go higher. I will stick to this plan still, but I will be a little bit more on the cautious side because I'm seeing a good hold up here near my 20-day SMA and within the Bollinger Bands. And if we do clear that one and we climb above the 50,000 kind of 594 zone right here, I will get even more comfortable with the upside, but I'm going to go slowly on this. Again, the next target for me could be this 51,413-ish, or maybe actually not 13, maybe somewhere around here. There we go. 51,500-ish. That's the target. So for now, I'm cautiously leaning towards the upside, but I need some, I need to see some clarifications here. I need to see some clearances in order to get a little bit more comfortable with some, some higher areas. For the downside, well, I'm going to take a very conservative approach, to be honest. However, I will start already examining the downside scenario if we do fall back below this downside line. That said, ideally, I would prefer a drop below the 48,235 right here. That's the low of this week, the current lowest point of, actually, no, not the current, the lowest point of November. If we can clear that area, great. I'm going to go to the downside. Let's see how Nikkei is finishing the month. There we go, in negative territory. But clearly trying to recover. Let's see what's going to happen in December. Retail sales are certainly not bad, looking not bad. Let's see if November retail sales are going to look good as well. So yeah, let's jump into Shanghai Composite. Yep, a little bit of a push higher here. I talked about this idea where I said that if this downside line provides good resistance, then I will consider another move lower, but also additionally a drop below the lowest point of this month would be needed. So just for that extra confirmation. But for now, everything is pointing a little bit more towards the upside. This 30,893 area around the 50-day EMA is good area. So let's see if we can clear that. And then if we can climb back up to the 3,922-ish area zone right there, then yes, I'm going to go to the upside. Let's jump into the US indices. So I already briefly mentioned the NFPs, that we had the NFPs this month, and that was on the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. Yeah. Non-farm payrolls, there we go, 119K that came out. I did a video on this and I talked about that, and certainly that's great. Yeah, fireworks, wow, double the forecast. This is the problem. This is like the second time this year it's getting revised. It doesn't show here, but the revision. But yeah, I think it was August or July, I can't remember, one of those, that it got, from 100, yeah, there we go. I think in August when we received the numbers, the previous number kind of from 147 to minus 14, something like that. It's like, that was crazy. That was like a ridiculous, number. So, ladies and gentlemen, in a way, like I said, that's what's kind of triggering the positivity this month, or should I say, sorry, not this month, in the second half of this month, because again, it kind of shifted the Fed's position towards having a rate cut because several Fed officials started coming out, saying, "Oh, you know what, guys, everything is crap. We still need a rate cut to boost the economy." So, look, we were saying this in the beginning. I was saying this in the beginning of this month. I mean, you're if you have a plan already to go and do the cuts, you will do it. Like, I don't know, like what has to change in your policy suddenly that you don't want to do the rate cut. And in general, I think that they will do right now everything um, what the White House will ask them, because the White House has been on their bottom for a long time now, like saying, that, oh, we need a rate cut because we need this and this and that. And initially the Fed was kind of opposing that because they said, well, that's inflationary, right? I mean, this is like, it's going to cause a lot of inflation pressure. So, but then the data, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, I think they showed data that, oh no, inflation is actually okay, because what they did, in my opinion, is that because retailers took a lot of hit on themselves, right? They are experiencing higher costs, but they're not passing it on to the consumer. So, because of tariffs, of course. So this is this allowed to keep the prices on the lower side, plus plus lower oil prices as well, kind of helped it out a little bit. So and that's why the Fed is kind of saying, okay, you know what, inflation is on the lower side. Employment is crap, but I think that inflation is is on the lower side, and everybody's happy. So that's why the market is also played in favor of a few. And I think, like I said, and I think that the Fed will give them everything what is necessary, because despite the whole independence talk, but they will give everything to the White House what they want, because let's face it, Mr. Powell doesn't want to leave on bad terms. He's going next year in March or April, I think, or something like that. I can't remember. So so you're not gonna, you want to leave on a good foot, on a good kind of side, on a good note, or what's the expression there? And you're not gonna, you're gonna kind of give them what they want. So long story short, we'll see what's gonna happen going into January. I think we're gonna be expecting more rate cuts. So let's see what's happening in January here. So January. Okay, the current probability is to stay the same as what will happen in December. So there, let's have a look. So yep, we're expecting a cut in December, and in January we're most likely will stay the same. Going into March, yes, now March could be an interesting one where we could see maybe another cut happening. Let's see what's going to happen, of course, certainly, but at the moment, the market is welcoming this, and we're seeing nice positivity here to the upside. Dow is approaching, or at least trying to approach, the current all-time high. I would say be careful, because we have a strong area of resistance right here. It's not exactly this level, but around this area. Basically, that's kind of around that 48,000. I think that it's quite doable. I think the 48,000 could be reached, but then are we actually going to hit an all-time high? Now, that's going to be an interesting one for me, because are we actually going to hit an all-time high? Oof, I will get positive with this, with further advances if we do clear the current all-time high. But in the short run, right now, going maybe into next week as well, I think that we could see, more upside like this. Again, like I said, I'm targeting this 48,000, and then maybe a bit of a retracement back down could be possible. So keep that in mind. To get very bearish on this one, or actually to start examining the downside, this inside swing high, I do like this one. This is around 46,856-ish, marked by the high of the 20th of November. So if we do fall below this, I am going to get a little bit more interested with further declines. S&P 500, yes, pushing higher, and most importantly, from the technical side, it broke. Oh, it didn't. Oh, it didn't broke. I thought it broke. Okay. it's near this, as you can see yourselves. It's currently flirting with this downside line. So if it clears the downside line, ladies and gentlemen, I think there is a chance of a move towards the all-time high, the current all-time high. But yeah, we're actually at a strong area of resistance. Let's see if this is actually going to get cleared. If it's not going to get cleared, it might send interesting, I wouldn't say shock waves, but a signal, interesting signal on for the Dow and the Nasdaq. Nasdaq so far is enjoying life because all these Nvidias, and actually Google right now this week announced that they're going to do a deal with Meta, or actually Meta is going to do a deal with Google. There we go. I think that's because Meta is going to buy some of the Google's chips and the TPUs, or honestly, yes, the TPUs, for the TPUs. It blows my mind in general to see how this corporate world works, and everybody's sharing money with each other, and everybody's kind of parking their money here and there, and especially in OpenAI, and yeah, that's amazing, and how nobody knows what's happening with the funds there. These public companies are parking money with this private company, and everybody's fine with that. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I said in the beginning of the show, I used the word hypocrisy. Because on one hand, you're saying that companies, businesses need to operate transparently, and but you're actually closing your eyes on some other deals. Why? Because it's understandable. It's bigger money in there, bigger people involved. So yeah, us mortals just have to grab your coffees and teas and just watch the show. And we can trade those stocks. Speaking of them, speaking of the devil, Nvidia. So we're seeing this one pushing back actually above the 180 zone, and that's interesting. And it seems it doesn't want to give up. Somebody might say, "Oh, it's a perfect opportunity to buy right now." Look, you do whatever you want to do. Also, in the beginning of the show, I talked about ethics in terms of ethical stocks and ethical companies, and which stocks you want to buy. So, like I said, you always need to do this little research, and for example, my personal kind of vendetta is, or is this stock, right? I mean, so again, it's involved in a lot of conflicts, and it's involved in a lot of problematic places, if I can say it this way, providing intelligence to somebody that should not be receiving that, in order not to commit the crimes which they're doing. But hey, that's what I'm saying. That's why the world is hypocritical. But again, this is what you can do from your side. You cannot change the world, but you can at least start from yourselves. So going back into the markets here, into indices. Sorry, the German index DAX. Let's have a look what's happening here today. The DAX is working. DAX is operating clearly, nicely, and well, we're seeing some positivity. Look, in general, I'm gonna stick to the upside, I think, because we surpassed the 20-day SMA here within the Bollinger Band. We're currently above it. But actually, let me just get rid of this steep upside line. But we're struggling with the 50 and the 100-day EMAs. So if we do clear those, I think I will go to the upside. I think I will go higher. If we do drop back below the 23,530 zone right here, then I will consider a move lower. So yep, that's my game plan here. If we do, like I said, if we do fall below the 23,530, I will consider a move to the downside. But for now, I'm leaning a little bit more towards higher areas. So let's have a look what's happening with the FTSE. The FTSE, of course, with this week, we got the budget, and the budget was delivered. And as I keep on hearing that the budget basically is not supporting growth, it's not really supporting, the small businesses much. It did give a higher minimum wage, but But yeah, that can be seen as inflationary. So I don't know if the Bank of England will continue cutting rates based on that. So we'll have to see what their position is. So next month, by the way, in December, we are going to be seeing a lot of major banks, major central banks delivering their interest rates. But the Fed, of course, will be the key one to watch. But most importantly, that the Fed is not going to get any data, like neither inflation nor job numbers, before the event, before the 10th of December. So it's kind of going in, it will cut rates based on whatever. Maybe they will say that it's based on ADP, right? And based on PC, because PC is going to be the only one that we're going to get next week. We're going to see that one coming out. So the PC will be the one that we're going to watch, because that's the data that the Fed's one of the Fed's favorite inflation metrics. So yeah, but anyway, coming back to the FTSE 100, look, the market kind of seems to be like it welcomed the budget, and I think not what was written in the budget. Well, actually, sorry, what was written, of course, yes, but overall, I think what the market welcomed, that there was no major shocks, like major controversial issues. There are some changes, big changes in the taxes, but it's not like not now. It's gonna be like in from 2028, right, or something like that. So it's like, okay, in the future. So great, wonderful. So, but now, no. Now we're delaying. So, and I think that the market kind of is liking that, and yeah, it's kind of bringing the market kind of back to its normal path. Let's jump into the DXY dollar index. Beautiful. I talked about the dollar index. I'm liking this one, how it moves, and so far so good. It's working beautifully here, trading above this little upside line. We are seeing a rebound, and at the same time, if you're not noticing this, but we're forming a possible ascending triangle pattern, which according to all the TA rules tends to break to the upside. So we can get that clearance of one of the sides. Wonderful. I'll consider the next short-term directional move. For now, I'm just observing the price action, but yeah, I'm waiting for that clearance. Let's jump into the Forex world. AUDUSD, okay, not much we can say here, apart from the move back inside this kind of triangle pattern. So we're waiting to see which way it's going to break out to. Initially it broke out to the downside, but then didn't really hang around here for too long, and it started pushing back up. So yes, the risk on environment was back on, and that's why AUD and NZD were enjoying the moments here. So yeah, that's great for this pair. Let's see if the US dollar does recover, if this is going to move back down. But basically, long story short, for now it's going to just get stuck here, and that's why I'm not going to really do anything for now. AUDNZD, yes, this one is dropping lower, and I think I need to get rid of everything and start fresh. And I think maybe, just maybe, we're having ourselves this nice downside line, which is in the way, and at the same time we could be seeing a falling channel. Okay, so if it's a falling channel, then there's more room to the downside. There is more room to maybe test this lower side. But if it's not a falling channel, instead it's a falling wedge, then basically it changes a little bit the game, and we could see some higher levels here. But again, a breakout first is needed, through the upper side. So according to, like I said, all the TA rules, such patterns tend to break to the upside, but yeah, it can still move anywhere. So if I'm looking for some higher levels, then yeah, I'm waiting for a clearance of this upper side of the potential falling wedge scenario. AUDJPY, there, of course, pushing higher, pushing back to this 102.4061 zone ish, and this is a good area of resistance. So if we do clear it, I'm going to go higher. Pretty much simple. I'm not going to really, I think that a lot will depend on the current risk environment. Is it going to be risk on or risk off? If we do see the stocks, continuing to rally, then of course this is a risk on environment. and we could see, you know, AUDJPY pushing higher because again, it's our risk on, risk off monitor. You know, if it's risk on, then you know currencies like AUD and NZD get a little bit stronger. Safe havens get sold off. You know, but if it's the opposite happens, then well, you understand. NZD, let's have a look at this one because again, we had the central bank interest rate decision. When was that? Thursday. Yes, that was Thursday. Really? Where's my New Zealand? And there we go. It's New Zealand. There we go. Where's my New Zealand? Where's my interest rate? It was on Tuesday, right? Or when was that? I'm looking at the wrong week. Sorry. Honestly. New Zealand, Wednesday, was it Wednesday? Australian, there we go, interest rate decision. Yes, 2.25, so a 25 basis point drop. Should be a negative thing for New Zealand dollar, but we saw this one rallying because, well, I think that the risk sentiment has changed to risk on, and the US dollar weakened, so all combined into a nice. Well, it was weakening before the announcement, the interest rate announcement, and it's kind of, you know, working like buy the rumor, sell the news, right? Or in that case, sell the rumor, you know, buy the news. So that it kind of works in that way right now. It worked out in that way. Euro USD still in range. Look, I'm not going to really touch this one until I see a clearance of one of the sides here. If I can get this move out of it, then great. More I will consider the next short-term directional move. But at this point, well, while we are still stuck in this range, then yes. I'm gonna just wait. I'm just not gonna do anything with it. Quick glance at Euro CHF, nothing major here. Euro JPY. Okay, the Euro JPY is also similar. I have this little range. I want to see a clearance of it in order to consider the next short-term directional move. So I think that, yeah, we can lower down the upper barrier, 181.65. If we do push above it, I'm gonna go higher. The downside, 170. Or actually 180. If we do drop below that, then yes, I'm gonna go to the downside. GBPUSD, so of course the one that reacted positively to the budget, is pushing higher, but also, like I said, it's fueled by weaker US dollar. And look at this, we push higher. Look, I talked about this yesterday, and I actually this week. On Wednesday as well, I delivered a little piece here on GBPUSD. Said that, look, if we do stay above the 1.3216 here, basically the high of the 13th of November, if we do continue to trade above this area, then I will go higher. I will remain, I will stay positive, basically. The only problem that I'm having right now is the EMAs, because those are providing good resistance. So if we do clear those EMAs as well, in addition to this, you know, staying above the 1.3216, then yes, of course, I will consider some higher levels. USDCAD, very quickly, like I said, keep your eyes on the Canadian numbers today. We have this GDP growth rate coming out, so we could see some Canadian dollar movement in here. We're forming something of an ascending triangle pattern, I have to say. So yeah, keep that in mind. Such patterns. I want to say patterns are, you know, seen as bullish, but the confirmation breakthrough the upper side is still needed. USDJPY, we're resting near the upside line here. That's fine. So everything is okay-ish, but yeah, I'm kind of positive on this one, you know, but again, because the stock market has rallied, and maybe we could see a little bit of a retracement, maybe a break of this upside line. Look, I'll say it differently. If we do break this upside line and we fall below the 155.65 territory right here, I'm going to lean towards the downside, for now at least. If we do push higher, and look, if we do clear the highest point of November near the 157.89, then yeah, I'm gonna go to the upside. I think this is a better option here. It's a very conservative option, but still a better option. USD CHF. USDCHF, we're pushing back up. We're trying to make our way back up. So maybe DXY could actually follow suit, or on the contrary, this one's kind of following the whatever DXY is doing. But at this point, maybe DXY is actually following this one. Maybe the weakening of the Swiss franc is happening earlier. Let's jump into gold. Gold, ladies and gentlemen, gold. Okay, we're flirting with this upper side of this triangle. Now, we're stuck in below the downside line taken from the high of the 21st of October, and we're stuck above the upside support line drawn from the low of the 28th of October. So, we're kind of forming a symmetrical triangle pattern, meaning that we need to wait for a clearance of one of the sides before we can get comfortable with the next short-term directional move. And we did have a chance today to push through this, but we stalled. We stalled here, and look, it's a very interesting moment here right now. In general, I would say yes, more upside could follow, because before entering this pattern, the prevailing trend was to the upside, so the greater chance for this one to break out is to the upside as well. However, things happen a lot of times, and I would say this way: do not rush into things. Wait for it, because because again, surprises are happening all the time. And in general, I told you about my theory. If the stock market suddenly starts reversing back down, I said that I think gold, silver will also reverse lower, because we saw this already happening recently this month. But no, the theory behind it is the fact that whenever times get rough, whenever it's difficult for governments, instead of printing money, you tap it into your reserves. You sell some gold, you unwind some gold, and then you get some money, to boost your economy. So, and then you can always rebuy this, buy it again. But yeah, we're watching this one very carefully. Silver. Now, silver is one that is really interesting me. And we are technically, it's beautiful. It's forming a nice ascending triangle pattern, which, according, like I said, to all the TA rules, tends to break to the upside. But again, we had a rejection here. We traveled higher. This all-time high here, 54.46, 47-ish zone, that's on my chart. So we have traveled higher. We failed on in mid-November. We failed to reach that all-time high. We came close, and then we reversed very quickly back down. And today, right now, we're approaching again the all-time high, and now the question is actually, is the third time lucky or something? Oh, good morning here. Good morning from South Africa. Hey, Lauren SVD, Lauren SVD, or sorry, I think am I getting your name correctly? Lauren, or Lauren? Please forgive me, but when it's when it's all in one, it's really difficult sometimes. But yeah, thank you very much. A person joining from South Africa. Look, I'm grateful, and honestly, I do have people who are watching me. Lawrence, there we go. Oh, but then again, this is interesting. Your name is interesting now. Now, where do you put the stress? Do you put is it Lawrence, or is it Lawrence, or is it Laurence, or like, hey, there's like, honestly, now this, like I said, maybe again, but please forgive me my maybe pronunciation, because I heard my name getting pronounced not only Darius but like Darius, so it's like like Lawrence, but just our version, right? Okay, cool. Cool. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Look, I already said this before in the beginning of the show. Whoever's watching right now, please feel free. Honestly, let me know what you have been trading this week, if you were trading, or maybe you were, or maybe you're not trading or something. But what were you trading this week mainly? What's just out of curiosity. So yeah, silver. Like I said, silver for now. I would say it this way: I do do not exclude a reversal, and I do not exclude a a breakthrough higher here, because just where we are at right now, we're near the all-time high. We had a rejection here before, so that's why it kind of supports the idea of a possible reversal. However, at the same time, maybe the third time is lucky and we will get that breakout. So it's really a difficult one. So what I would say, how to play the game here, is that keep your eyes on the daily chart. If we do break through this current all-time high, yes, great, we could go higher, but then be cautious. Let's say keep your eyes on where we're going to end the day, where we going to, what's going to happen. Like, I mean, are we still going to, push higher, create a new all-time high, but at the end of the day, we're going to close below the previous, then at that point, previous all-time high? If so, you know my position on that. I will class that as a bearish indication going into next week maybe. So let's see. It's an interesting one. Like I said, very interesting. I'm loving the position here. So let's have a quick glance at platinum, because I still have to go into cryptos. Platinum breaks through the, look, this is a good example. Break through the downside line, which is basically the upper side of the descending triangle pattern. And that's why I'm always saying, wait, don't rush. Yes, the textbook says that it's an ascending triangle and you have to break through the upside. Yeah, sure, okay, but I've seen this several times. Breaking the opposite. So that's why I'm saying wait for the clearance, and then you can get a little bit more comfortable. Lawrence, I usually only focus on gold, but it has been difficult as I am fairly new in trading. Right, okay, yeah, it can be difficult. I don't know if you joined me just right now, the show, or you have joined from the beginning, but what I was saying, look, we were talking with real truth here, that the markets are rigged, right? I mean, look, yeah, the market, I keep on saying markets are not rigged, they're manipulated. They're manipulated. They're not really, they're not programmed to do anything against you or something. No, it's just they're sometimes doing things. The markets in general behave sometimes, I have a huge flow of ideas and words in my head right now, and I'm trying to put them in, put a vector on them. Basically, it's this, that if the markets are normally trading as they are, as we learned, how to trade them, like all your support and resistance, and all your trend lines, blah, 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 and stuff like that. But again, occasionally the market does not follow your normal technical rules, or and that's normal. And that's actually, this is like, initially you attract people by showing that, oh look, the market is actually a good place to be in because it's straightforward, right? And here's like the support, trend line, blah blah blah, resistance, hey, like ascending, descending triangle, hey, just go. But you get these, in the market sees all that, and other market participants see that, and big players see that. So sometimes when you want to create a very favorable situation, you manipulate, with some sort of announcements, you manipulate the market. Your whole idea, if you were saying, let's say, a nice ascending triangle pattern here, you're thinking, okay, yes, it's going to definitely break the upside, because on page like 261 in my technical analysis book, it says that it should be breaking higher. Yes, you always need to look at it from the percentage side. I mean, there's always a probability, a higher probability, a lower probability, but the thing is that the opposites happen, like in platinum, for example, right? I mean, this was like a clear descending triangle pattern, should be breaking lower here, but boom. And that's why I keep on saying, wait for the clearance and then do something about it. The most important, of course, risk management, because you have to accept the fact that you have to play small positions. You do not go with big. Or if you want to class this as a gamble, don't get me wrong, yeah, you can feel free, go all in, but then you have to accept the fact that it's a gamble, so it's like a coin toss, right? Up or down, heads or tails. So you, like I said, you're the judge. You're the ones who know yourselves better. People like me here are actually more of a, like not a mentor, maybe, like, no, I wouldn't okay, mentor. If I would be a mentor, then we would talk one to one, But at this point, I'm just a guy who's like with some glasses and bald, who's sharing his experience. And look, for now, like I said, this is looking quite positive. I think that there is a chance for platinum to move further north. Palladium, one of my favorite ones, this one still is holding to its downside line, which is the upper side of the descending triangle. Again, according to all the tier rules, should be breaking lower, but I'm not going to be surprised that this is going to move a little bit to the upside. But again, we'll see. Copper, very quickly, because I have to rush through this a little bit. Now, copper is interesting. It's in a range-ish, kind of like this range. We can actually put it here. Yeah, we're near the upper side. Let's see if we can clear the upper side of this range. Sugar, one of my beloved ones. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Beautiful move. Actually, I have to say, I kept on talking. I don't know why I didn't do anything with it, but I kept on talking for ages about this. And I said, look, this is looking very nice. We had a strong hold up here near the 1409. Boom to reversal. Then I said, look, if we're going to clear the 1474, I'm going to go higher. Boom, nice. Then it gives me another chance. But Darius falls asleep and just misses this rally. Look, what can I say right now? It's breaking my other part here, the 1505. It's climbing above the 50-day EMA. I think there is a good chance maybe to travel further north as long as we stay above the 15 zone or the 50-day EMA shown as the green line. I think the next target could be the 100-day EMA. Soybeans pushing higher and rebounding here. So let's see what's going to happen here. For now, I am not, like I said, I'm not doing anything, and I'm just observing the price action here. Now, okay, these guys. Okay, so we still know that the Mercantile Exchange, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, is still out, and we are, seeing this kind of exactly this. Oil is not really moving anywhere; it's just flat. So, but the most important is that it rebounded from this upside line taken from the low of the 9th of April. I talked a lot about this in my sessions, and we got the rebound, we got the push higher. So let's see if we can break this downside line. For now, I am not gonna rush into things, but I'm going to keep an eye on this downside line and this upside line. So while we remain in here, I'm not doing anything. I'm just waiting for a clearance. The same story, similar story with Brent. If we can clear, we're in a falling channel actually, but which could be seen as part of a bullish flag, which if we, take this, if that's the case, then I need a clearance. I need a clearance of the upper side if it's a bullish flag. If we don't get a clearance, I'm not really doing anything, because it's still, while we remain inside a pattern, which is the falling channel, we can still drift lower. That's it. Natural gas stuck because CME is not working. So it's did they fix? Probably not. So this is due to a cooling. What did they say? What's the official story here? Due to a cooling issue at Cyrus 1 data centers, our markets are currently halted. Support is working to resolve this issue in the near term and will advise plans of pre-open details as soon as they are available. Yep, of course. We're seeing no action here. Of course, look, don't get me wrong, the US market is still closed, and very quickly on cryptos, pushing back above the 91 zone, 90,000 zone. So, okay, the fact that we pushed back above this 88,800-ish zone, I talked about this in my Wednesday's session. I said that if we do push back above this little hurdle, I'm going to consider a little bit of a larger correction back up. So the next target for me is the 93,000. I will see what's going to happen here. Maybe we could go and test the before this downside line here. So that's what I'm gonna do for now. Honestly, I think I'm not gonna really invent the bicycle here. I'm just gonna aim for this for now, as long as. But if we start falling back below the 88,000 kind of zone, 88,800 zone, I'm gonna consider a little bit of a retracement back down. Lawrence, hopefully they can figure it out before NY session. Yeah, like honestly, like I think that they gave themselves like a little bit of a bigger holiday, So look, I think they should have just made it this as a public holiday for themselves because they celebrated Thanksgiving yesterday, and today they're having a short day. So why? Just, I don't know. Like honestly, like just have a day off, chill. We'll see you in December. But anyway, we have to create stories like that in a way. Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash. I love this one. I really do. It's an interesting one. Look, it's a bullish flag here. This is a big pole. This is a flag formation. It looks like a bullish flag. Honestly, let's see if this is going to be the case, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this beautiful thing here. Could be even a falling wedge idea as well, but either way, I mean, I'm looking at this. I like it to the upside, but I will probably get a little bit more excited with the upside if we do clear this downside line, this very little short-term one, which I just drawn, and we push above the $550 mark. I think that that's for me going to be a little bit of a better option. Ripple pushing higher again. Bullish flag here, formation, pole flag. Let's see if we can test this downside line, which is drawn from the high of the 5th of October. This is my next target because it also coincides nicely with the 50-day EMA. Good area of resistance. If we clear that, I'm going to go higher. But at this point, from the very short-term perspective, I think there is a little bit of a chance here to see a push higher. Ethereum, we're testing the resistance area and the 3058 zone right here. We climbed back over the psychological 3000 zone, so yes, great, everything is fantastic, looking good. But let's see if it's gonna push further north, because what I started recently noticing is that some cryptos are not really moving in tandem anymore, which is fine. And I would say maybe finally. And I said to everybody before in my previous sessions, and if you haven't seen those and if you haven't listened to me before, I think the future of crypto is that's it. We're no longer going to be like decentralized or blah, 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 whatever. No, that's it. I think that those times are going to be gone. I think what's going to happen, every crypto, major crypto, will shift into these other groups, other asset classes. Like one's going to be a little bit more like a stock. The other is going to be like more commodity. The other one's actually going to be a currency, we'll see like currency pair trading, because they're currently moving in the form of that, So to me, Ethereum looks like more like a commodity or like a stock. Bitcoin looks like somewhat of a commodity. Bitcoin Cash, this one looks like I wouldn't say currency actually, but actually it could be actually a currency. Ripple looks more like actually like a stock to be honest to me. And Ethereum looks more like a commodity, like in terms of movement and how it moves. Litecoin, Litecoin I have not figured out yet, but I do like this one. It's very nice. I love it. But it's an interesting, like I said, idea here to the downside still. I actually would prefer to see this one moving lower, but okay, let's see. Dogecoin. Now Dogecoin will be something I really don't know. It's going to be something, I want to say stock, like a penny stock, which can be manipulated by one person who likes this crypto very much. Polkadot could be a currency pair in a way, or again also something like a penny stock. But now Tron, by the way, with Polkadot, as much as I like it to the upside, I think there is still a possible move to the downside here, just because of what it's forming here. But let's see. Let's not rush into things. And Tron, look, this one's like, for me, this one is really a currency, and the way it moves, the way it shifts, it just looks like a currency to me. So yeah, that's why I believe it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. But certainly, yes. It's an interesting place where we are right now on Tron USD. Look, we have this downside line taken from the high of the 7th of October. So for now, I will continue targeting the downside as long as we respect the downside line. If we stay, respect the downside line, then I think, like I said, there is a chance for a move higher. If we break it, great, I'll go higher. That's it. You know, I have a simplistic approach to this. Honestly, I try not to overcomplicate my life. It's already difficult. So, I believe it's yours as well. So, yeah, let's not overcomplicate things. The only thing is the most important is that you need to kind of have your risk management in place, right? And I will say to everybody one thing, that if you're entering, you do not enter. First of all, you don't enter a trade if not all your tick box, not all your boxes are ticked in your strategy. If you have to find your strategy, you have to kind of, if all the boxes are ticked, then you enter a trade. If at least one box is not ticked, you don't go. Or if you really want to go, but this one box is not ticked, then you have a very, very minimal position. In general, you have you enter with smaller positions, because if you're, when you're entering a trade, if you're shaking about the trade, which you entered, that's already the wrong start, because that means that you entered quite a big trade. Um, you should not be shaking for every trade, which you enter. Like, and that's what I'm saying here, for example, with Tron, right? If we're gonna approach this downside line, thinking, okay, could it go back down? What I'm gonna do, probably, I'm not gonna enter here. I'm gonna wait until we do see another drop back below the 0.2764. Then yeah, maybe I'll consider a move lower, or actually even better, maybe from here. 0.2775. If we do, drop back below it, I'm going to consider a move lower. But if we do break the downside line, then great. I'm gonna, we could go higher. But like I said, it's the risk management thing. Lawrence, risk management is the one thing I learned to do recently, and I don't take chances anymore. I blew too many small accounts in the beginning. Look, been there, done that, honestly. Like, and look, if you stick to this, then you're fine. That's the most important. But you also need to always keep on saying, I had these sessions, these Zoom webinars before. I ran some sessions on psychology, trading psychology, and one of the things that I keep on saying, that you have to determine, first of all, to yourselves, are you a scalper, or you're a swing trader, or actually you're more of an investor, so if once you determine that, then, or maybe you're a combo of something here and there, it's like, you need to kind of be honest with yourselves, first of all. And when you're entering a trade, you have to be honest with yourselves as well, in terms of, let's say, can I afford to lose this one? If you can, that's fine. If you cannot, then you should not be in that trade. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. First of all, Real Truth, 1448, and Lawrence. Finally, now understand how to pronounce the name correctly, if it's spelled this way. Thank you very much for your comments. Really appreciate that. You cannot even imagine how great it is when you're running a show and you have somebody to communicate with. Normally, I'm like talking to myself in there. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, everybody else who tuned in, who was watching. You were silent, but you're still watching. I really appreciate that. For those who are going to be watching the show as a recorded session as well, thank you very much. Everybody, I cannot, like I said, I cannot express my gratitude enough to you. So thank you, everybody. So stay tuned. Do not forget to like and subscribe, and follow us, and do all that YouTube stuff which we people ask. So yeah, and I always say that you all can. I'm more than happy, if you reach out to me on LinkedIn, for example, if you want to connect, you want to chat. So I'm more than happy. The only thing is that before, let's say, clicking that connect button, please do explain, message me saying who you are, where did you see, who you are and why you want to connect in a way, and that just maybe you saw my show, you participated in the show or something then yeah. So yeah, thank you, and hey, have a beautiful trading day, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe, have your stop losses in place, risk only what you can afford to lose, don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. And I shall see you on Monday. Bye for now.